Are you dealing with a narcissist or an empath? Know the difference, because in this particular video, I'm going to explain how narcissism and empaths pretty much express the same energy at a different level of vibration. And so this is why these two types of people tend to attract each other in relationships. They're actually mirrors of one another. And pause before I jump into the topic itself. Just want to mention that I did have a little bit of a cold while doing this particular video, so I do sound quite a bit nasally, but it is what it is. Unpause. What are empaths? What are narcissists, basically? So empaths are basically simply people who are able to take on the emotions and feelings of others despite having gone through that specific situation, or despite being in that current vibration, that current emotional vibration. So, you could just understand how somebody feels. You can actually see how they feel through various angles. You could put yourself in another person's shoes, but understand what they're going through various angles. Some people could put themselves in other people's shoes, but they can still only see the situation one-sided. So that's the key signs of an empath. Then you have a narcissist. And a narcissist is just like an empath. A lot of people say that narcissists have an inability to actually feel for other people, and they have like an inability to feel anything other than their own emotions and feelings. That's right to an extent, but actually, believe it or not, narcissists are extremely intuitive, and they have extremely great capabilities to understand the emotions and feelings of others. The difference is that they are one-sided with it. In other words, they have a more difficult time actually giving a shit about another person's problems or another person's emotional stance if it does not directly relate to something that is glorifying them, or something that's beneficial, like directly, quickly, immediately beneficial to them and their circumstance. So what I mean by this is that narcissists, generally speaking, they can see all of your insecurities, and their purpose of even being able to know that is to keep you down. So they have kind of like a Grinch mentality, almost like the Grinch stole Christmas, similar to that. Now, empaths have the ability to do the same thing. They can see your insecurities, okay, but they try to help you. Like, the long-term goal is to help you. So yeah, they may say or do certain things that may, seem to be negative at first, but the overall long-term goal is to actually provide help and assistance, to actually like resolve the issue. Like, they understand how you feel and they feel bad, and they actually want to help through that. But a narcissist, on the other hand, they generally have no intention of helping you if it does not directly have to do with the growth of them, without the glorification of them, without the success of them, without the recognition of them. An empath is not necessarily thinking about that. An empath is just thinking about, I feel bad if I was in this situation, then I would want somebody to help me. That would suck. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it be. They may care really about the person or the situation or the environment, whatever it be. A narcissist is not necessarily like that. They may come across that way, but again, it's for their own end goal. Now, another thing that narcissists and empaths have in common is that they both generally work behind the scenes, meaning that they generally pick up on subconscious information and influences that can help them to assert their next action. Now, empaths generally do this again in order to help another person, or in order to serve a situation that's going to be beneficial to other people. You know what I'm saying? Whereas narcissists, they generally will work behind the scenes to manipulate specific people into feeling or believing in a particular way. So they either manipulate people into feeling a certain way about themselves, or about them personally, or the actual narcissist, or to manipulate, a particular environment into believing or feeling a certain type of way about a particular situation or a particular person. And the way they do it is behind the scenes, meaning that it's not direct. It's generally a very indirect tactic that helps to persuade, one person or one situation, which then helps to persuade another situation. It's just like a feedback system. And then it puts other people in a particular place, and it puts them on a pedestal, perhaps, or it changes the perspective of the situation in favor of the narcissist. But an empath looks at subconscious influences for the benefit of being helpful to others. So that's the main difference. So again, this could be very confusing because of the fact that narcissists use a lot of manipulative tactics, meaning that they can come off like an empath and switch to a narcissist energy. And this could cause confusion, especially for a person who may be an empath and oftentimes in denial of the reality of their relationships or the reality of their situations in general. So it's easy for, a person who doesn't want to believe the truth to kind of go back in their head and remember all the good things that this person has done in order to almost disregard the fact that this person's a narcissist. But on the other hand, it's also important not to just look at certain superficial signs to assume someone's a narcissist. Okay, let's be real. Narcissism does not mean that a person thinks that they're good looking. They're constantly preoccupied with the way that they look. I understand that's like a common sign, but it's like not really what it is these days. I'm telling you this right now. A lot of narcissism is based off of the intellect, the mind. A lot of people have a narcissistic brain. Like they think that they have the best way of doing things or communicating things, or they know everything or something like that. But this also too could have a huge impact on the way that they see themselves. But for the most part, what I'm trying to say is, seeing a good looking person walk down the street and they happen to pass by their reflection and they happen to look at themselves, you can't assume that that person's narcissistic. A lot of people do this because it's a superficial, it's just like a vain sign that people associate with narcissism. Narcissism has a lot to do with magical thinking, meaning that the person generally has a huge sense of self-importance, and they also tend to believe things that are just extreme. And when I say extreme, I mean sort of like they think that they are like something way bigger than what they are, or they think that they can handle something way bigger than is obviously possible. And then they think that they can kind of do magic because of that working behind the scenes manipulations that they do. So they kind of think that they have everything in their hands. And once they feel that they don't, okay, they generally speaking will do like the extreme to make sure that they don't experience any sort of embarrassment. So that's like a huge thing with narcissists. They have a huge issue with just, being wrong and just being embarrassed, or just like, it's like, oh, God forbid, you know what I'm saying? Again, they come across very empathetic, like they want to help you, like they're here to, at first, especially, Like, they will compliment the shit out of you. They will gaslight you, is what it's called. So with gaslighting, what happens is the person generally will have different forms of manipulation that causes the person that's dealing with them or the environment that's dealing with them to question their own memory. So be careful if you got Mercury retrograde in your chart or something like that. Be careful with your retrograde planets. If you have a lot of them, you most likely deal with narcissists that take advantage of your gullibleness and possibly your issues that you may have for whatever reason. Maybe you don't remember certain details or something like that. But in general, narcissists use these tactics to make you question your own sanity, to make you question your own sense of reality. Again, it's important to kind of be able to tell the difference between why someone's doing something. That's the biggest thing when it comes to differentiating someone who may be like playing a little prank on you one day versus someone who may be actually lost and confused themselves versus someone who is actually using narcissistic tactics because they want to be so much in control of a situation. So that's a huge thing with narcissists. They like to be in control, a lot of control. They like to have a lot of control. They don't like to share control. Nope, absolutely not. A lot of times these people are not in relationships. Also, another thing to mention about narcissism is that a lot of people make this little mistake. I understand it's the new age, but narcissism is prominent in males, in men, in the energy of masculinity. Not saying that females can't be narcissistic, but generally speaking, the female narcissist is completely different from what I'm speaking of. And it's usually associated with something called histrionic disorder. And I'm going to get into that. Now I'm going to tune back into the gaslighting. Okay, gaslighting is a tactic that narcissists use in which they usually try to make someone question their own sanity. Let's do a couple examples. So let's say that you're just meeting this guy, you really, really like him, and he's so sweet or something like that, right? And he's telling you stuff like, you're so beautiful and smart. I never met a girl as smart as you. Blah, 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 blah. All that gas, right? You ever hear people say that they're stop gassing me? Okay, again, different. It's different. Some people do gas people because they're just like that. But this specific type of gassing, what happens is they gas you up, but it's a light. And what happens? The light goes out. So they gas you up, and then it's like as soon as they feel any sense of being out of control of a situation, or if something changes, or if they're just like not feeling themselves, a lot of times all the time behind narcissism is huge insecurity issues. That's why they have this system, this wall that they built in order to control the public. But in general, you know what I'm saying, narcissists, they will use this gaslighting tactic, and it's like all of a sudden, like a couple days later or something like that, after they told you all this good stuff about you, they switch very quickly. Very quickly. A lot of these people got like Gemini. You know, I don't even want to get into the astrology because I don't want people to think that everyone that's like a Leo rising has has narcissistic tendencies. No, it's a lot about, you know, the aspects and planets and stuff like that. It's a lot deeper than that. But so I'm not even really gonna get into that because that's like a video that may take a little bit longer. But in general, you can see a narcissistic's chart. Like if you have their chart, by the way, you can see it. It's pretty easy to see. But the thing is, what I wanted to mention was, so yeah, back, I lost my train of thought. So back to the example where I'm saying, you know, this guy gives you a bunch of compliments and stuff. You guys go out on dates. Everything's going fine. And then suddenly, you know, it's like the guy sort of switches up and he'll start watching TV of some girl that comes on at 8 p.m. on a specific channel, and she's speaking about the same shit that you two generally have conversations about, but he doesn't really want to talk to you about it anymore. Instead, in your face, he's watching that on TV, and then he's gonna be like, wow, this girl's so smart. Like, it's like, that's the type of shit that narcissists do. It's like, it's a tactic. Like, there could have been something where someone else now has complimented you and said like that you're beautiful and smart too, and no, you can never get more attention than a narcissist. Nope. Now he going to reverse, because they work behind the scenes. That's the 12th house of astrology. That's Pisces energy. But narcissists, they have certain aspects that are connected to quick self-undoing. Like, they do, and then like, they see everything you need to hear. That's what I mean. They got that strong empath energy. They're very empathic, but then empathetic. They're very empathetic. They know everything they need to say in order to win you. And then they switch up on you as soon as they feel vulnerable. That was a bad snap. They switch up on you as soon as they feel vulnerable. Oh, somebody else complimented you and they didn't compliment me? Then they go and they do something just to make you kind of come back down again. As soon as you come back up, they're like, oh, no. That's a narcissist. Now, everybody, I wouldn't say everybody, some people do get jealous in relationships, friendships, whatever it be. But narcissists, they get jealous and they have to control the situation. They have to. And they will do anything. It's like that's their whole life plan, is to just bring others down to make themselves feel better. That's what they live for. So that's what I mean by they got magical thinking. They think they can just magically control everything. They think they control how you feel. And then they'll take something that you have. Like, they'll see something they want that you have, and they'll try to make you feel like it ain't shit and then take it from. I'm telling you, these are narcissists. Empaths gotta wake up. Wake up. You gotta start matching their vibration. Doesn't mean you're a narcissist. It means like you attract these people. You have no flipping choice but to match their vibration. What are you gonna do? You have to. Now, you don't have to stoop down to their level. You can do things at a very high vibration, but you can still get to that low vibration. It's difficult to explain, but it can be done. So there's two types of narcissism. There's covert narcissism, and then there's overt. I should say there's overt and there's covert. Overt narcissism is the narcissism that most people understand. It's that more superficial narcissism, the person who's preoccupied with their looks. Everything is externalized, so the expression is more out there. It's pretty obvious. They generally have a pretty good appearance. Not saying that people that have a good appearance have narcissism. I'm saying that usually the overt narcissist, they keep up with their looks to an extreme, because they use their looks as a main tactic to persuade and control. Covert narcissists are difficult. Watch out. Those are the tricky ones. Those are the ones that will get you. They appear shy and vulnerable, and their main way of manipulating the environment is through that. So they will make you feel like another person is in the wrong by kind of making them kind of expressing vulnerability, but it's bullshit. It's such bullshit. It's done to manipulate the environment. So they'll sort of like, they'll basically make themselves come off as if they feel bad about themselves, as if they're going through like a really difficult situation. And so this is just a way to, it's like a very low way. Like your covert narcissist, they're the ones who you actually kind of feel bad for them because they're not doing well at all. These ones, they're not doing well at all, like most of the time. So it's like you kind of do feel bad for them, but it's like because they're not doing well, they're just like very, very bad people. It's like hard to explain, but it's like, damn, like you feel bad for them because it's almost like, you know, like a person who's outdoors in the flipping cold ass weather and they ain't got no food, no blankets or nothing, but they still will do bad things just to get attention. It's like weird. Like these are people who easily get money in the jar. Like you see them and they attract hella empaths that be throwing change in their jar. When you go in the hood and shit. Like those are, it's like, I'm not saying these homeless people are narcissists. I'm just giving an example, a metaphorical example. But it's just, these are, the covert narcissists are the tricky ones because they come off real shy, like, oh, I haven't had this in a while, and and you know, nobody loves me. But they might not say it directly. Instead, they're gonna be like, I have a cut, like I have like. I'm telling you, like, they act like little punks, and you feel bad for them, and then it's like because they got you there, they just like kind of take everything from you, but they're still never happy. It's like these are your really never happy people. Over narcissists are not really happy either, but they are not vulnerable like that. Like they don't stoop that far down to that level, but they still are completely backed and supported by insecurity. The difference with the overt narcissists, they generally have a lot of shit. Like these people are usually rich. They got like a good looking partner or partners, and they get away with a lot of crap. You know what I'm saying? Because they're generally they're basically surrounded by luxury. Your covert narcissists, they don't have that. So that's why they're so vulnerable. But they temporarily have, but it goes away real quickly. Because they just like never, they may not be as good looking. They may not have enough money. They're kind of like stuck in a state of not having, and that's why they became narcissistic in the first place. Your overt narcissists were in a state of not having at one point in their lives. They never got over it, and they've completely transformed, and they have like everything now, but they still sustain that state of not having to get more and more and more. So they're greedy, in other words. And then again, your covert narcissist, these people, they just never had, they still don't have, and now they're like the Grinch that stole Christmas. Nobody gonna have. That's how they are. I don't have shit. Ain't nobody gonna have shit. So they don't care about stealing and taking from others. But oh, it wasn't me. Like it's like very innocent, but it's not. It's bullshit. And they act very shy, and that's the reason why they act narcissistic in the first place, in order to win people over. But they generally don't do well with relationships because they're usually very superficial, or they usually are very not superficial. Like they will date like trash just to make sure that they're always at a higher level. So they can never be with anyone who's doing too well. They love to see people in a state of vulnerability because it makes them feel better about themselves. And it's extreme because it's narcissism. Female narcissism is very, very different. I should say it's very, very different, but I'm actually going to use my phone to help me with this one just because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. But generally speaking, females will use their physique and their physical appearance in order to have control over people. They're very overdramatic, and they usually will like sleep with multiple people. So they generally have they'll seem to have like a sex problem or something like that. A lot of them, they will make up stories, so they're just huge drama queens and gossip. And it's difficult with females because it starts to tap into something that's called borderline personality disorder. So it's like there's a fine line between that as well, female narcissism and borderline personality disorder. But let's look it up. So histrionic disorder, this is what I call the female narcissism. It says exaggerated dramatic behavior designed to attract attention, overly theoretical or melodramatic in character or style. So to be completely honest, a lot of times your male narcissists tend to attract female narcissists too, because it's like, I'm telling you, it's all the same vibration. It's all the same vibration. Usually, like, female narcissism is gonna be manifested because that's what whoever they attract like. They like that drama queen shit, to be completely honest. It's everything all just is connected and it makes sense, to be completely honest. It's like weird. Like when you really just think about it, you're like, okay, think about it. Would you want somebody like a guy that attracts female narcissists? You gotta kind of think to them, okay, would you want to be with someone else? Like with someone that's not a drama queen? You gotta think about what you're attracted to. Like, it's like weird because it all makes sense, but it's not gonna go together either. Like a female narcissist and a male narcissist, they have to make sure they're not narcissistic with one another, because that's gonna disrupt the relationship. And is that possible? I don't think so. But anyway, some of the main symptoms are, so it's important again to remember, don't take that melodramatic shit and all that stuff. Like, you know, a lot of people express melodrama. You cannot think they got female narcissism now. Like, it has to be extreme. This is a personality disorder we're talking about. So this is the person's personality, okay? So it says a person with histrionic personality disorder seeks attention, talks dramatically with strong opinions, is easily influenced, has rapid changing emotions, and then I'm not female narcissist, okay? I'm not. I know I have the rapid changing. Nah. It's like, yo, that's one thing I hate about Google, yo. Never flipping go on Google when you have any sort of symptoms for anything. You'd be like, runny nose. They're like, you got nose cancer. It's like, you gotta read everything. So anyways, damn, see, this is why I didn't want to read this, because I'm already setting myself up for a trap. But anyways, this is besides the point. This is not about me. I don't want no misunderstandings. But if you think I have it, then whatever. That's you, and you're a dumbass motherfucker. You ain't a psychiatrist. So anyways, here are the key symptoms. Preoccupation with physical appearance, seeks to be the center of attention, or talks dramatically. Considers relationships to be a lot closer than they really are. And inappropriate sexual or provocative behavior or rapid shifts in emotion. So a lot of times these people are overly flirtatious with others. They can also be very provocative in the way that they dress, very flirtatious, seductive. They're usually uncomfortable when they're not getting attention. So this is when the drama energy comes out to an extreme if they're not getting attention. They may lack sincerity, but they may be dramatic. So they express dramatic energy, which makes you may think that they're empathetic or something like that, but the sincerity is not actually there. It's just for the attention, in other words. It's actually very similar to the male narcissism, where they make you feel a certain way by the way that they're expressing themselves, but it's really just to control how others are perceiving them, pretty much. And they could just be very shallow, and they may have like certain threats of like self-harm and stuff like that in order to receive attention. So these people, again, just like the male narcissism, they use extreme measures to receive attention. The only difference is that with the female narcissism, they're gonna be kind of like more sexual, I guess, in they control others through that typical like annoying type of like, just think of a really annoying female that always needs to be in the center of attention. Watch The Mean Girls and study Regina George's character. That's female narcissism. Nobody could get more of the limelight than them. Then they'll be overdramatic if another female is receiving more attention, or it could be a male receiving more attention. So now the other personality disorder that I was saying is quite similar is borderline personality disorder. Now, borderline personality disorder is different in the sense that this is just straight up unstable moods. So it's like an extreme version of bipolar. The main symptoms are antisocial behavior, compulsive behavior, self-harm, a lot of mood swings, sadness, guilt, loneliness, depression, distorted self-image, but also grandiose energy, and then narcissism too. So a lot of times you see these are all very similar. Like a lot of the personality disorders are very similar. So with personality disorders, there's cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. Cluster A is the disorders that are similar to schizophrenia, but they're not schizophrenia yet. So the cluster B personality disorders, they deal with, you know, the drama queen energy and the drama king energy. So this is narcissism, histrionic disorder, and borderline personality disorder. That's basically the main things I want to speak about in this video, especially that borderline, that fine line between being an empath and being narcissistic and having a personality disorder. If you are noticing that you're around people who only have means to advance themselves, to uplift themselves, and that's the only time they're really gonna give you that energy too, like you'll notice they'll never give it back, like, or they'll switch real quick, or they'll show their true intentions. Like, you'll notice they uplift you and then drop you back down, and it's like a constant pattern. And I'm not talking about a constructive form of critiquing things, which would be to provide what someone did well and then what they could have done better. That's called balanced critiquing skills. I'm speaking on people who literally have means to confuse you, make you question, like, wait, didn't that person just say that they loved me, that I was beautiful, and now today they're making me feel completely otherwise by their actions, and then they're gonna try to act like they ain't doing that. Like, people are trying to make you feel dumb. Like, these people like to make you feel dumb. Like, it's weird. It's weird, but it's not really weird because they're just narcissists. They're just narcissistic. So watch out for that type of stuff. Be more aware and make sure you show your strength, because empaths have the ability to be very strong. They just have to tap into that vibration. You know, sometimes you can't always be helping others because the energy's shifting, and people's truths are going to come more out in the open. And don't be shocked. A lot of times narcissists, you know, it's not really their fault. It's really not. It's like they most likely were born in a family that was that way, or, you know, that's just the friendships that they've attracted in their lives. So they just match that vibration. That's all they know. So keep that in mind too. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. Blessings, light, and love. Peace out.